So for the first question, if you have a student with a speech disorder in your classroom who might be a little difficult to understand, um, what are some things you can do as like the teacher to help them participate in activities? So obviously it's challenging to understand a student with a speech disorder because they could have a problem with fluency, articulation, stuttering, or voice, and it's hard for them to express themselves, so therefore it's hard for the teacher to understand too. So I think that the best way for the teacher and the student to be able to understand each other is to have forms of communication that work for them, like maybe through writings. Like if a student doesn't understand something and is trying to communicate to the teacher that they're confused, they can like write it out and like give it to the teacher, and the teacher can understand that way. I think activities that are going to be extremely helpful too, or like even like thumbs up, thumbs down, like that's helpful. Like if they understand a concept, thumbs up; they don't, thumbs down. But for activities, I would say involving like writing assignments, making visual projects or products. Like for example, if they're learning about um, like dinosaurs or something, they can make a model of the dinosaur and like have facts about it rather than just say, oh, like this is, instead of like, because they can't obviously express themselves orally. So having like opportunities like that for the student to express themselves, and having activities where they can use manipulatives, like for example, like if we're learning about money and the teacher obviously can ask the student with that has a speech disorder, like how many like nickels are there in 30 cents, instead of just waiting for the student to respond because it's obviously difficult for them, giving them physical coins, and then the student can show with the coins like here's all like the nickels it takes to make 30 cents. Like things like that are just really helpful to the learner to be able to help the teacher understand that the student knows the material, or if they don't know the material, the teacher can understand that and be able to work with them more. So for the second question, look up one of the approaches, explain it in the list, and give your initial thoughts and just what it is. So I chose incidental teaching. So this is done for individuals that are like autistic, from ages like 2 to 9. And so the purpose of this is to improve language and other communication skills. So the way this is done, to my understanding, is like they set up an environment for a child to be able to communicate effectively. So for example, they would be placed in like a, almost I guess you could say like a, for example, like a playpen, and they're given like a toy car or whatever. They give the kid the toy and the kid play around with it for a little bit, and then they're going to take away the toy, and then they're going to put it in a place where they can visually see it, but it's outside the playpen. Like, what they put it like on top of a table. It's the student's responsibility at that point to be able to like gesture and point to the toy, or to like make some kind of sound, like even if it's just like a simple like squeaky sound or whatever, to show that they are like making effective communication that they desire that toy again. And so they just prompt students to be more communicative through that way, and because they want to reward the child by giving them the object. So if the kid like really wants that toy, then he can point to the toy, and that's effectively communicating to the adult in the room that the child wants the toy. And so then they will give the toy off the table, give it to the child, and that's the reward and incentive, which just further promotes the idea of communication and language. So this teaching is a very naturalistic way of teaching it compared to some of the other ones, but I like it because it involves something that that the child desires, and it's playing off of their natural like childlike desires, I guess you could say. But yeah, I think it's a really cool thing, and yeah.